This whole thing started as a fight for money. Not for me, but for someone else. But very quickly, this fight for money became a wildfire, strictly based off of principle. This video is me in my anger discussing one of the most disgusting forms of manipulation, which is when someone uses your vulnerability to exploit you or to take advantage of you. And this did not happen to me directly. This happened to my boyfriend. I don't know. We have a lot of problems, but my person. This happened to my person, one of my people, someone I love, regardless of the things we might go through. This is my person. People like, and I'm just going to say his name because he doesn't deserve to be protected. So if this ever comes out and he hears his name, hey, you should have known from the first conversation we had that you weren't safe. But that's beside the point. So people like Zeke, we'll just call him by his name, see people like my boyfriend, who is clearly trying to prove himself, clearly dedicated, and most importantly, and of course, I'm sure the part they notice first is very skilled, okay? My boyfriend has what I tell him a extra dose of Riz, okay? He has this ability to just turn it up to 100 whenever he feels it to be necessary. Doesn't work on me anymore, by the way, but it did in the beginning. But he just has this ability to just like connect with people almost instantly and make them feel comfortable, and he just has a personality. And you know, I've been pushing him into sales for a while, and you know, he had a couple of jobs that really just kind of were some bullshit or whatever, and he found this one and it was positive. You know, it was really, he was positive about it, and it seemed like it was finally finding something that was going to work out for him. But the thing about it is that he was also in a very vulnerable state financially. He had been broke for a while, struggling, you know, trying to, you know, pull himself out of, you know, this raging river of drowning. And it was so hard on him, and he was just always stressed, and you know, he felt bad because, you know, he couldn't do stuff for me and stuff like that, even though that was never expected. But you know, like, you love somebody, you want to do stuff for them and stuff, and like, he was just in such a vulnerable place financially. Like, it was definitely probably the largest, I wouldn't even say probably, it was the largest source of his insecurity, and just, you know, him feeling less than, I guess. And this man that he went to work for pretended to lend out a hand of kindness, a helping hand, as if he put out his hand to pull him up out of this water, this river that was drowning him. And literally exploited his effort, his vulnerability. He exploited it in the disguise of kindness. I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically this is just someone seeing someone else in such a weakened state, and instead of feeling empathy or feeling bad or feeling the need to help this person, they see it as an opportunity to capitalize. And that's exactly what he did. He got my boyfriend out there making sales for him, getting contracts signed, and all this other stuff, fully taking advantage of his skills. And then, his dedication to the cause, as far as these work trips are 4 hours away. His car I'm surprised it still runs, but yet he was pushing it all the way up there. Half the time, he barely even had the gas money to get there and back, and still went every time he was called. Anytime he had to be there for a certain meeting or to meet with someone or whatever the case may be, he was on the road going, sometimes up there and back, 4 hours up there and back in the same day. Dedicated, just really striving to make this work, because he was being promised, all these different things, these big commission payouts, and, giving these pat on the back and all this other stuff of just how good of a job that he was doing. But yet every time payday came around, the boss man's talking about, oh, well, yeah, it was a different excuse every time. Every time it changed. Oh, well, it hasn't processed yet, or we have to wait until they send the insurance check. Well, then they send the insurance check for the roofing job, and then it would be oh, well, it's not when they get the insurance check, it's when they get the second insurance check, because apparently there's two. And then that would turn into well, the roof has to be completely installed, and then that turned into we have to get the final check or whatever, and it's just all these different things, and the goalposts kept moving, but he would lead him on up to the point of, oh, well, you'll get paid this Friday, your commission for these, however many jobs, and just kept feeding him bullshit. And my boyfriend, in his weakened state, and the fact that he desperately needed this job, desperately needed the money, desperately needed to make something work. He's got, the landlord on his ass, and, his car insurance, breathing down his neck, and everything else, that he's facing. He's eating rice and beans, for dinner, because he can't afford food. He's desperate for something to work here. And that was used against him. This whole thing just infuriates me. You have to be a disgusting, just completely black mold filled inside person to do something like this to someone. My boyfriend was loyal to Zeke, and I tried telling him, for a while that something was up, something wasn't right. This is not how it's supposed to go. Like, there's something up. And he defended this man and defended him on the grounds of, well, he's helped me so much, and, he paid my phone bill, and, he bought me food when we were out of town, or, whatever, just all these different things, and just painted him to be this savior. Like, he stuck up for him with loyalty, like blind loyalty, because he wanted to show his appreciation for someone who had helped him in a hard time. Like, showed loyalty to a person who was literally taking advantage of his vulnerability and his weakness. So this is the whole thing, and this is where I just get so intense here, is that people need to be careful when they see someone like that and see them as an easy target, or, someone easy to take advantage of or manipulate. People need to keep in mind that just because this person might not have the ability or the strength to fight back because they're fighting other things, or because they're just kind and loyal and don't think they need to fight back. They think that, I got them where I want them. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to make any noise. Like, I'm just going to drag this out. Eventually they'll get the point and just quit, but, whatever. I'm still going to use them up until then. I'm going to generate as many roofing sales as I can until that point. Let me tell you something. There are Kelseys in this world, okay? And I know maybe you've never came across one or whatever, but they do exist. And you might be able to take advantage of him, but you didn't factor in the fact that he might have a me. And he does. And the me, the Kelsey, is a wildfire, a wild animal. I literally turn animalistic when it comes to protecting those that I love. I become intense and fierce just protecting injustice in general. Like, injustice, unfairness infuriates me probably more than anything, I would say. If not, it's right up there with it's got to be in the top 3. That alone is enough if it was just happening to someone I'd never met. Now imagine doing it to someone close to me, someone that I love, my person, one of my people. Imagine doing it then, and it goes times 100. When I tell you that I went so hard, and I am still going so hard, if I don't get my resolution that I plan to get, which, is up in the air, either way, if I get it, then okay, I'm still going to be furious, but okay. But if not, I will go even harder. I won't stop. I haven't stopped up until this point. He has literally just, I guess, brushed me off, or just, I don't know, thought I was bluffing, or tried to ignore the fact that he knew, like, I wasn't just going to let this go. I don't know. But I will keep turning up the heat. I don't stop. When it comes to situations like this, I don't stop. And this is what I want for the other Kelseys out here. Fight for them. Please fight for them. Because it's not just about someone getting what they're rightfully owed. it's also, and even more so, about restoring balance. That's how I view a lot of things like this. It's restoring the balance. It's evening the scales. You know, people manipulate themselves into a place of superiority, and they put on this false sense of power. There has to be someone with true power to come in and level that back out. And like I said, there's a bunch of Kelseys out there. There's a bunch of me's. Maybe, you know, you are just developing, but you're a me. That's why I'm here, to help you develop into a me, because you're out there and you have the fire and you have the drive and you're infuriated and ignited by the same things that I am. We have to restore balance. And I don't know, I thought the core of this message was, you know, the fury that comes with taking advantage of those when they're the most vulnerable. And that is extremely important to this. But it's really just about those of us who have the ability, have the strength, have the grit, have the courage, have whatever it is to restore balance, even if you don't even the scales completely, but just bring them down some, just even it a little bit, you know, or bring it down to a closer of an even level. Do it. We have to. We have to. We have to. Because this is not okay. Like, this is not okay. We're not gonna continue to allow people to get away with stuff like this. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. So I'll just address this to Zeke himself. You picked on the wrong one. You fucked up the minute that you thought that he didn't have a lioness in his corner. I know I was silent. I never met you. I never, you know, you never really knew too much about me besides whatever he was telling you. So I'm sure like you underestimated me or whatever the case may be. But if you ever try this again, just keep in mind that sometimes you're going to come across a Kelsey, and I will bring you down. I will humiliate you. I will make you apologize to him 10 times if that's the route that I want to take. You should have done what's right, and you should have, your kindness should have been genuine. And the fact that you used it as a manipulation tactic is disgusting. I'm sorry. You're disgusting. You're absolutely disgusting.